had mentioned last time that something unusual would happen to Jimmy and Harry at the library. The two new friends had enjoyed a stimulating time as Jimmy introduced Harry to the wonders of the works of some of his favorite writers, among them the science fiction universes of Andre Norton and the exciting adventures in the swashbuckling tales of Alexandre Dumas. Harry took to the experience with enthusiasm as he handled each of the volumes Jimmy showed him, seeming to almost absorb the contents of each of them as he did. After they had been more or less escorted out of the stacks of Jimmy's treasured adventures that allowed him a full life beyond his physical limitations, an odd thing occurred. Jimmy had lost track of his homeless companion. Then, a very stern lady librarian ejected him from the stacks. Closing time! Jimmy had become concerned when he couldn't find Harry, worried that he might have gotten confused or lost in the maze of books. But when he arrived on the steps outside the building, the boy found Harry was there waiting for him, seemingly happy as a child. As they proceeded to move homeward, Harry seemed eager to press something he had been concealing into Jimmy's hand.
What is this? What have you done, Harry? This is a magazine. You can't check out magazines. They're going to think you stole it, that we stole it. Why did you take this? Is there something you want me to see?
He.
I see what it is. It's an issue of scientific discovery. I'd love to look at these too, but it's not ours to take home. We've got to return it.
He.
Okay, settle down. I'll look. It's last month's issue, March. The tokamak reactor approaches fusion temperature.
All right. Jimmy knew a little about the mechanical rings strikingly portrayed on the cover and of the potential of the tokamak experiments, but he was puzzled by Harry's agitated enthusiasm for that particular article. It seemed as though his huge friend was trying to get him to read about some isolated scientific experiments. The article seemed to be about what such a reactor did or could do if fully functional.
Look, I'll turn this back into the book drop in the morning. After I clean it up, maybe we'll get away with it.
He.
All right, I promise I'll read the whole thing. And the breakdown of what's in here and what the reactor does, okay?
And with that, once again, the two parted, with Harry satisfied that Jimmy would do as he had indicated. Jimmy was becoming more and more aware that there was more to Harry than a mute, homeless derelict who just happened to be around to help a kid in trouble. Jimmy was perceptive in that way, always had been. Meanwhile, Jameson and his crews were rapidly moving forward with the multiple projects that had been blueprinted by Adrian in and around the old Holland building. Early on, he had already discovered that the building, the rail yards, and the ancient city incinerator were all connected by a series of underground tunnels. Apparently, from the drawings he was providing, Adrian already knew this. These passageways were being cleared and reconnected from a kind of master design or blueprint that the visitor from the void had communicated to the uncertain but industrious Jameson.
Hey, boss, we've broken through the old rail yard steam tunnels. Pretty much as you thought. The large junction room is right where you said it would be. We've been setting everything up in there.
Is there enough room for the plates, the tube cannon, and the metal rings?
No problem. The plates are already in place.
Rummy! Hey, over here! The barrel is the latest arrival. I don't know what the hell it does, but that was a hell of a chore getting the thing down here. Did you see this? The guys have connected the plates and the rings, and the whole thing is beginning to look a lot like the sketch that Adrian gave me. I think we may be close to having what he wants.
Right, boss.
You have any idea what all this is for?
And don't even think about it, Rummy.
Time now for a quick jump. Remember what I said before about time and space? So I am allowed to do that. Anyway, I think I'm at the point in my story now where I fill you in on a few things I've been holding back. First, in addition to the ad guy, I had told you that Adrian had created a kind of artificial intelligence, a robot or android of sorts, to aid with the preparation of the machine. His creation was a seemingly human being named Norm Bellacy, and Adrian had placed him in the center of the game as a young apprentice cameraman on the commercial shoots. From that vantage point, Norm could monitor Jameson. He could also get the additional surveillance work done that the Great One required of him. Now, I don't think this is going to surprise some of you. Have you been suspecting that the actor Cosmos was the real thing? If you have, then you were absolutely right. And when the real Cosmos recognized Adrian's handiwork in Norm Bellacy, he was quick to take advantage of that knowledge. Cosmos wasted no time using a direct approach with the pseudo-human, isolating him, overpowering him, and forcing him to the ground.
Your trickery does not work with me. I know there is no Norm Bellacy. Speak in your own voice, Adrian. You are here and I know you.
You would interplay directly with me? This is a machine. Of course you know that. But hear me, Cosmos, you cannot defeat me in this kind of warfare. Your childish pranks and disguises have worked up until now, but soon you will see I will brush you aside just as you have so easily destroyed my artificial helper.
In that you are right, son of Marloth. The games have ended. It is time for our conflict to be real. You may have age and experience beyond mine, but I and my kind work with certainty, putting to effective use the order that you would absorb. And in the absence of that kind of affirmation, you will find your defeat. Our goals harmonize with the existence that your efforts would obliterate. We cannot allow it.
Your power is too limited, Cosmonarian. Your intellect too untested. Neither you nor all the minds of your family combined can project beyond that of my father. You, your mother, and all her spawn, including her bitch Karna, will see destruction that will only further glorify our kingdom in the void.
Adrian was gone. Cosmos then crushed the robot beneath him, reducing it to a tiny piece of metal, making sure that he salvaged a bit of film from the camcorder. Then, another form stepped forward from the shadows. It was Karna, so despised by Adrian, who had also been placed on this stage to influence the course of events. She, like her brother, had recognized the true form of the machine that had just been destroyed. Fortunately, neither Adrian nor his android Norm Bellacy knew of her presence.
Mother told me that you were deliberately allowing Adrian to think that you did not know of his robot underling. But she asks me to caution you that she is equally certain that Marloth is too wise to be fooled as you fooled his vain son. He would have overwhelmed all of us.
All the actors save one have now been positioned. This one here has been disabled. Another is in place who the Great Ones think serve them, but he is one of us and has kept me abreast of matters of importance. It remains to be seen if Adrian can cope with the vagaries of chance, as well as our people have learned. We shall soon see.
Indeed we shall. Now I must return to my Earth form. Those close to me have no idea what I really am, or that I am not one of them. But perhaps a time for revelation is near.
Thank you, sister. As always, you do what is best. The tides await your command.
Karna's prediction came to pass almost immediately. Ed Kammerer, America's new Iron Baron, came home early the next night, hoping for some quality time to revel in progress reports with his wife Jane. When he entered the den of his home, it was not Jane Kammerer, but a stranger, tall and wearing a velvet cape, who appeared. The man's eyes were an otherworldly ocean blue, but he vanished before Ed could assure himself of any more details about his appearance. The creature. I said man before. Perhaps this was not the case. Had apparently cornered Ed's distraught wife, but had done no harm to her or the home. Nothing was vandalized or missing. Together, the couple decided it was best not to report the incident to any authorities. Nevertheless, Ed could not shake the sense that he had seen those eyes somewhere before. Now, only one day later, a Sunday morning, we find the Iron Baron again joyfully basking in his success and attempting to show Jane the largest concentration of scrap iron in the United States. His wife had protested that the tour was not necessary, as she had been by his side as the iron reserves had accumulated. But he was undaunted by her protests and insisted she join him. As they surprised the Jameson's crew at the worksite, Ed's ebullience was immediately dispelled when workers there armed with disruptor rifles began to fire on them. "Get down, honey. Over here, get down. What are those guys doing here anyway? What kind of guns are those?" As he looked up, he saw his wife engulfed in the concentrated fire of the disruptors. But Jane Kammerer was no longer a human form. She stood, stripped naked in the midst of a massive ball of fire. He looked in amazement where his wife had stood to see a whole other being, unharmed and glistening in the afternoon sun. Suddenly, Kammerer recognized the meaning in what was happening. The event last week at the house now made sense. The stranger who had intruded upon his home, was known to his wife, and his wife was something much greater than he knew or that she had ever shown him. He shuddered as he realized that she and Cosmos might be linked. A new voice issued forth from the flaming creature before him.
Crawl now to safety, Ed Kammerer. This is all that you and I can do. Others must finish what we have begun.
He was hearing the voice of the cosmonarian Karna, who had masqueraded as his wife for 42 years. As he struggled to speak, some kind of internal blast issuing from the center of the woman's new body incinerated all of Jameson's men in their own flames and consumed the iron piles surrounding them.
This event was not foreseen, but maybe that as well. It will give my brother Cosmos more time for what he has prepared. Come now, husband. There is a life ahead for us if he succeeds.
With that, she was Jane again. "Come on, sweetie. Let's get some clothes on you. No one needs to know any of this. When I'm older, you must show me again who you really are. And tell me where you're from and why you are here. And with me."
I will, dear. When we are both older.
The need to educate her human husband more fully came sooner than Karna expected. Because she and Cosmos were not the only cosmonarians involved in the intricate plan to thwart Marloth and his arrogant son, Adrian, she realized she might need to operate more freely in her guise as Jane Kammerer. She also was moved deeply by her newly acquired feelings as the loving wife of Ed Kammerer. Her empathy with his mighty struggle to understand who and what she was and why she was here had touched her in ways quite different than any she had experienced on her home world. Her decision was immediate, since she knew that Ed would not be able to comprehend the many intricacies of the development of her being. She chose to enter her responses into his subconscious dream world. As he lay sleeping beside her, she interposed her thoughts on the very night of their confrontation with Jameson's men in the rail yard. Gently, and with as much care as she could muster, she had indeed learned to love this human very deeply. She frankly and clearly informed Ed of who she was and of her mission here on Earth. Ed, without being aware of any of this, would wake the next morning comfortable with the double, perhaps even multiple identities of his chosen partner in life, the woman he knew as Jane. Jane whispered gently into what we might call his inner being all she felt he would be able to process about the circumstances in which they now found themselves. She said,
Ed, my love, I am Karna. I am a cosmonarian. My original home is a place light years beyond your imagination to calculate. The cosmonarians are a great race of beings who have, among other good works, taken on a mission stopping what we see as an enormous catastrophe. There is a creature, Marloth. He is related to my kind, but many eons ago opted to follow a very different course of survival than did my race. He resides in a void, seeking only to steal the energies, both physical and spiritual, from any and all life forms within his sphere of influence. My mother, who was once Marloth's daughter, my brother, and I, are part of an effort to bring this tampering with the order of the universe to an end. That is why we are here. That is why I am here with you.
Karna made the decision to tell him more.
It is important for you to be aware that it is not only me, but others, fellow cosmonarians, some of whom you already know in human form, who are engaged in a major conflict with this Marloth. His main agent on Earth is his clone and son, Adrian. The aims of my people are benevolent towards you and all sentient beings. I want you to remember that above all else. When you awaken tomorrow morning, all you will know of what I have said tonight is all is well. And that, as you have known before, you have married one who loves you. Your questions will not be answered, but your inner being will be at peace, no longer struggling to know more, and content with the knowledge that the harmony of the world you live in is being guarded, perhaps in the long run, even enhanced. Sleep well, my darling Ed. I do love you. This dream awareness will serve as the explanation that your human intellect so desperately seeks.
Then Karna said something quite wonderful.
Seeking is that special human characteristic that makes my kind regard you and your fellow humans so highly as a race of beings, and for me to love you, my Ed, so much. What I have just said will serve for now, and trust me when I say that we may yet be totally happy by both human and cosmonarian interpretations of that word.
I see. I love you, Jane. I am satisfied, and all is well. That's kind of nice, isn't it? What Ed muttered there? Needless to say, Karna's method did exactly what she had willed it to do. Without even knowing, Ed's questions, and more importantly, even his need to question, were resolved. What she did not tell him was that Marloth was as powerful as, or perhaps even more powerful than were she and her kind. Both species had survival skills that had developed over ages and ages of varied experience, but how these resources might play out in any kind of final conflict was at best uncertain. Any confrontation would pit the age and experience that had been developed by Marloth in the void against the reshuffling of the genetic makeup of his daughter and her offspring. They had grown to be more capable of dealing with change and surprise, and were able to find strength in this awareness. Which set of gifts would enhance the ability to win any kind of final conflict had of course never been tested. Karna realized, perhaps even feared, that the universe was near the moment when such a test would come. Another possibility loomed as well. What if her brother Cosmos and the vain and confident Adrian had to engage one another alone, with no help from elsewhere? In spite of the careful planning of both camps, this was a real possibility. Would the qualities contained in the makeup of these two beings define the conflict and feed into the end result? These were concerns which Jane Kammerer, in her wisdom, had decided to withhold from her sleeping husband. Well, folks, once again, my old body is in need of some downtime. So until we find our ways to one another in the near future, try to rest easy in the hopes that the world we know and love may yet survive all this. We'll see next time.
The tides are